There we go. Hang on. Can you hear me now? See, I'm so fantastic at this. Am I better now? How about now? Okay, alright. Okay, you can hear me. Jeez. See, this is why I'm terrible at live streaming, because I can't even do the audio right. I'm so sorry to the 132 people that. So I was just okay. Well, I was just sitting there talking for ages. What I was saying was that I do understand that at the moment everyone is asleep, and that everyone is in America not currently able to watch me, and that most of my audience, about 55% of it, is in America. But that means that 45% of it is not in America and is here, and I am in New Zealand. And you know what? Every other time I have to wait for Americans to be at the right time. It's an ungodly hours, and I have to wake up and so on. I'm not bitter. But now the Americans have to wait, or the Americans have to get up in ungodly hours. This is my ultimate revenge. And so, hello from the UK. And for everyone who is in America, you know, thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. Like, clearly, you are real fans. Oh, come on. Fine, I'll just leave it like that. That's fine. It's fine. So, we're doing an unboxing today of, number one, my YouTube plug, which arrived like a week and a half ago, and I haven't unboxed it yet. Because I've been wanting to do something with it. I was going to make a whole video of it, but I was like, do people even watch unboxing videos anymore? And I also have something to, two things to unbox here, and also do Q&A stuff. So, let's do it. But before I do, someone sent me a super chat, which I will probably forget about unless I do it now. So I'm going to answer it right now, which is from Taylor. I know you're asleep now, but you sent this before. How did you come up with the name Mishka? It is wonderful and exotic. So, number one, I didn't actually come up with it. It was actually come up with by my mum and my sister, and I actually opposed it. I didn't like it because I thought it was a girl's name as a kid for a boy cat. And even till this day, I'll be like, this is my cat, this is my kitty, my beautiful kitty Mishka. And everyone will be like, oh, she looks lovely. It might be because he has quite... Do cats have feminine looks? I don't know. But he's very beautiful, very pretty cat. Like, he's pretty. He's not just handsome, he's like pretty. He's like beautiful. And so I opposed it on that, but I lost that battle. I got to name one of the other cats who died of cancer. His name was Crumble. He was actually the cat I was closest to for a long time. And and then he passed, and then Mishka, who was his brother, then Mishy and I became a lot closer after that. He is a very, very pretty kitty. Oh, so, yeah. What's up with the redemption arc part? Okay, well, I'm also going to talk about redemption arcs. I did a video the other day on redemption arcs, and I want to just talk about how to do redemption arcs, something I sort of wish I included in the video, but I didn't. We'll get to that a bit later. But if you do have questions that you want me to answer, then flick them in the chat. If I spot them, I can. Otherwise, super chats do work. It'll mean that I definitely will see them because they get highlighted. Otherwise, I sort of tend to miss them. But so let's start with this package here, which, just making sure I don't show anyone things. This is from Alexander. I won't say the full name just in case I don't want that. Thank you very much for this. I am. Do I have two? Oh, there we go. If we turn that, now you should be able to hear me and not have like an echo. That should be fine, because I had two mics going at the same time. If there is an echo, I don't know how to solve it, I'm afraid. But it should be stopping now, if not. So, this is from Alexander. Thank you very much. And I can pretty much feel that it's a comic, and it is a comic. No, it's not a comic. It's a book. Felt like one of the Avatar comics because it's like, it's pretty much the same sort of weight. It is, I think, his book that he wrote, Mythic Book 1, The Night of Death, which is from the director. Oh, so it's a book he's written. I won't read it out loud unless he in case he didn't want me to do that. Yeah, if you guys did want to send me things, letters or otherwise, there is my PO box. All the details down there in the description. I sort of just feel people are generally going to find it. But yeah, I'm always very appreciative to the people who send me stuff, because it's always so nice. You know, I've had people send me amazing, insane things, which, oh, it's crazy. Pigeon God, thank you very much for your Canadian cash. Best kind, no, Canadian cash. I'm sorry, I don't know how to do Canadian accents. What Hogwarts house are you in? I am a Ravenclaw, though I was actually so close between two houses that I got to pick. Actually, in the Hogwarts Pottermore quiz, if you are very close between two houses, you do get to choose for yourself, kind of like in the like that happens to Harry in the series. And I got to choose between Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw, and because I'm kind of an academic snob, I went with Ravenclaw because I like the idea of thinking myself as smart rather than as kind. What does that say about me? No, I don't know. I like the Ravenclaw symbol. I like the colors more, and I feel like there's a whole lot of untapped potential for that. I should probably have had scissors. I'll have to use my key. That's gonna go down great. Yep, that's gonna go fine. How is your day going so far? This is from Zombie Killer 451. Also, what is your favorite Lord of the Rings video you've made? My day is going pretty well so far. I'm working on a new Avatar video, which is exploring the ending of The Last Airbender. And kind of what that means. I feel there's kind of a hidden meaning that a lot of people sort of miss on their first watching, because it's there, but it's all done relatively implicitly. Basically, that we're going to explore what the lion turtle was saying to Aang and what that all means in the broader context of the themes and the overall story. It's really interesting in terms of the implications it has for the lore, as well as some things that we often see in fantasy stories, which I'll go into. Essentially how they blend magic systems and character arcs. It's very, very common that they have this particular model and they used it in The Last Airbender in a way that you probably didn't actually pick up. So, this is from PML. Has your book come out yet? Yes, my book has come out. Links down in the description if you haven't got it yet. Please do go get it. And remember to leave a review because it really is helpful. Seriously, so damn much. Thank you to the 55 people who have already done that. It's gorgeous and it's beautiful and it has all of the stuff that I've discussed, plus more stuff on how I plan a novel. You know the story. I've said this 1,000 times. Please do go get it if you haven't already. You know, already about 4,600, 4,700 people have gotten it. It's absolutely crazy. I'm overwhelmed with the response. If my word building or writing content has been helpful, please do consider getting it. I just don't want to crap. I'm really afraid I'm missing. I am missing stuff. My favorite Lord of the Rings video that I've ever made, probably that one on Tolkien's philosophy. It's really well rounded in terms of exploring both the depth of the book and the depths of kind of Tolkien's broader philosophy. I'm really happy with how it looks. It's the first one where I think I got the lighting right, because these things of light... Oh, I just hit my light. These things of lighting, I'm still getting used to using them. Yeah, but that one I felt was written well and it looks really good and was really well received. And I really enjoyed writing it just because it has a lot of philosophy in it, which to me is a lot of fun to talk about. Especially like religious philosophy. I really love talking about that sort of stuff. Dunk Buskus Gaming. If I send you a free copy of my book when it gets, can you do a video on it? I'm afraid I can't promise things like that. That would open me up to a lot of stuff that I don't necessarily want to be doing on my channel. You know, but you know, feel free to send me a copy. I'm not going to say no to that. Thank you if you do. It's still very kind of you. But ultimately, I want kind of to. I'm very cautious about where I take my content. And I'll just do this one last super chat, and then we'll open up the second package, which is from... It does not say. That's fine. Writing my first book, 25k's in, technical words, 20,000 words in, military sci-fi, main character is a starfighter pilot. How would you suggest making the technical parts fun for the reader? I'm not sure what you mean by technical parts there. If you mean like the sci-fi tech stuff, like writing technological like jargon and that sort of thing. Watch my video on exposition about how to get a lot of stuff across. A lot of exposition, especially technical sci-fi world building stuff, is not important to communicate. You can have it there if it happens to come up in conversation, but a lot of it you can just leave behind. And I know that sucks because you might want to involve it, but unless it's important to the story, often it's not actually essential to communicate. If it is important, then there's probably not that much of it. But if there is a lot of important information, then spreading it out over a long period, so scattering out throughout several chapters, is probably the most efficient way, to put it simply. So, this one. I don't know what this is. It's from Book Depository. Hang on. Was this a book that I bought for myself? I think this was a book that I bought for myself and I have forgotten it. I don't even know what this is. It's a package to me. I think it's from me. And I don't remember ordering it. But here we go. Let's find out what I ordered some month ago, because Book Depository takes ages to get things to New Zealand, because everything takes ages to get to New Zealand. Like, you people who have Amazon and you get things on the same day, it's like, that just doesn't happen in New Zealand. Oh my gosh, it's 2 books! It's books to me! From me! This is great! What did I get? Hang on. Oh no! Hang on! These aren't from me! Another plot twist! These are from someone. I actually did know that these are coming. From someone who wanted me to read these books. They contacted me previously, so, you know, they checked about it. One of them, it's from a patron, from a Discord user. One is 1,000 Names by Django Wexler. I don't know if any of you guys have read it. I have not read it. And the other one is The Crimson Campaign by Brian McClellan. These are basically Powder. This is the Powder Mage trilogy. Mixes of kind of more modern fantasy, which is interesting. Well, that was a double twist. There we go. Thank you very much to the patron who sent this. You know, I'm looking forward to this. They will be good reads. At the moment, I'm reading Consider Phlebas by Ian Banks, which is a really pretty gritty sci-fi, from what I can tell. But it is turning out to be quite good. To the person who asked, when's the next Avatar video coming? It'll be coming at the end of this week. To the person who asks, is my book on anything except Kindle? Yes, there's paperback. Thank you to all those who have gotten a paperback. How many times have I watched Avatar for research? Uncounted. I watch more individual episodes than I do the entire series through, but I've probably seen the entire series through 5 or 6 times, and then the individual episodes I've watched some dozens now, just for research. Because I always rewatch an episode if it's relevant to the discussion, just to make sure that I don't pick up anything now that I'm focusing on a particular thing. So like the Azula psychology video, I watched through pretty much the entire back half of the 3rd season. And that was to make sure that when I was thinking about Azula psychology, I didn't miss anything when going through it. Do you think the fantasy genre is oversaturated and not worth publishing a book based in that genre? Absolutely not. The fantasy genre still has a lot of miles left in it. Genres, I don't think, ever really get tired, permanently at least. They get tired of certain types of fiction within the genre. You see this in the superhero genre. We had Christopher Reeve's Superman type thing, where it's all very classic, heroic, bright colours, and then it eventually transitioned into Logan, you know, which is totally an evolution of the genre itself. But eventually, we're going to come back around and we're going to do more of that classic stuff. My favourite theme music from Lord of the Rings. Oh, there's a piece, but I can't remember what it's called. It is a very specific piece, which I don't remember the name of, but it first appears in The Two Towers. But it sounds kind of like da-da-dun, dun, da-da-dun, dun, dun, dun. Oh, I'm sorry. Other than that, I really like the probably the Minas Tirith theme, which, yeah, I like the Minas Tirith theme quite a bit. So we've still got the actual plaque to unbox. That's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to this. So, the plaque, I passed 100,000 subscribers, I think, more than a year ago. I'm not 100% certain. But I was like waiting for it for ages. I was like, oh, I wonder when it's gonna turn up. And then it didn't. And it never did. And I don't really know how to get a hold of it. Anyways, after I cross a certain threshold, you get a YouTube representative, like a person you can email. And I was talking with them. And I was like, hey, by the way, this is like a month ago or so. I was like, hey, by the way, just wondering when when these plaques turn up, because I'm now over 400k, and this is the 100k subscriber plaque, and she's like, "You haven't got it already? Did you request it?" And I'm like, "What?" It turns out you have to. It turns out you have to actually. You actually have to request it, and I never did. And she's like, "Yeah, it appears for like a month, and then it goes away, and then you can't request it again," which is super weird. So she got it organized for me. And so now she sent it out. Neots, world building is an important part of my life, and thus I've created Kalikau, the role-playing guild. Would you like to collaborate? Thank you. If I'm going to do any collaborations, I tend to discuss them over email or in private with other creators. I don't know enough about what you do, so I can't 100% say, either way. But flip me an email or something like that if you're interested. I can't promise anything because I get a lot of requests for collaboration, and I've just done a lot of collaborations recently. So I'm trying to, trying to sort of make sure I redefine my content and make sure I'm going in the right direction. Thank you for the super chat, all of you. It's a lot of it means a lot, and of course it helps me keep doing what I'm doing. So let us open up. Oh, I don't have any scissors, so I'm gonna have to use my key. Let's see how this works. Oh, there we go. One side. Done. Just bought your book and I'm excited to read it. Currently writing a novel and I'm a big fan. Thank you very much. I hope it is helpful to your work. Can you do a personal video for your 500th subscriber? Well, I've already had my 500th subscriber. About your rise and struggles of your series. Again, love your series. And I mean I could, I guess. I'm not, there's a lot, I mean it's more like the individuals have the individual videos have struggles. Like I struggled a lot with the recent video, and there was like re-recordings and editings on the day itself. And that was quite stressful because when you're editing a video still on the day that it's about to come out. Okay, let's have a look. There we go. It's one side open. Oh, it's looking pretty amazing. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've already got it open. Yeah. I'll take the scissors in case I need them again. Got the scissors, guys. Alright. I think I'm gonna push it out the side here. Oh. Oh, I don't think I was meant to pull that out. Whoops. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. This is presented to Tim Hickson for passing 100,000 subscribers last year. Or even further than that. Oh my gosh, it's really cold. Like it's pure metal. It's like a perfect mirror as well. Oh, it's slightly warped. Just so very slightly. Welcome back to the Hello Future Me ASMR channel. Today we have The 100,000 subscriber plug. This is really nice. This is pretty. My girlfriend thought it would be bigger. So should I do some more ASMR content? Is that what you guys would like? It's nice and silver. When's the next one? I think the next one is 1 million. So I'm still a way off that one. I never thought I would get to this far, at least. Like, I remember saying the trumpet, the chat is now exploding with, no, stop the ASMR. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever I don't know if I will ever reach 1 million. You know, I would like to, obviously, but there was a point when I was saying, I'd be happy with 100,000 subscribers, and of course once you get to 100,000 subscribers, you sort of feel like you need more, and it keeps growing. It's that cycle of continuing to grow, to consume more, to be bigger than all the rest. So yeah, if I keep going at the rate that I am, then I will hit 1 million sometime, which is really cool to think. I don't know what I'll do for for 1 million subscribers, but we'll find that out. I haven't missed any super chats, have I? No. Okay, that's good. So I wanted to talk about redemption arcs. So I talked about pretty much this trifecta, which is stakes or goals, and views of world and views of self. These are like gotta catch 'em all. Catch all the subscribers. These are like the 3 different things that happen in a redemption arc. These things change. You know, their view of themselves change, their view of the world changes, and what they think is at stake, what they want is at stake changes. And when those things change, they become redeemed because they can't be selfish or they can't be evil any longer. They say they want to protect their child. Well, they can't go on going into gang wars. You know, they have to keep their child safe. Things that make them change. And a couple of people got a bit confused, or they got a bit confused, but it was mostly my fault. I didn't make it clear enough. While a redemption arc does have those things change, normal character arcs also have those things change. So you can look at any character arc you like, and the views of themselves for the character will change throughout the series. They grow, you know? They might see themselves as weak at the start, but they see themselves as strong and confident at the end. Their views of the world will change. They might see the world as a happy-go-lucky place, and at the end of it, they might realize that there is a lot of hurt and pain in the world, and they've matured, and so on. And with the stakes, they might see only their village. They want to protect their village. But by the end of the story, they actually realize they want to protect the entire world. You know, that sort of thing. Growth in whatever world in whatever way you want to look at it. The thing I sort of missed was that the redemption arcs are character arcs. They are character arcs fundamentally. So characters change. They change for the better. That's a normal character arc. The difference is where they start, and that their trifecta at the beginning, those 3 things, have to be causing immense harm to either themselves or others. Whereas a normal character arc doesn't have that, or doesn't necessarily have that. You know, you'll get like books like in John Truby, he was talking about his character flaw, and it's like, at the start of your book, the character flaw has to be ruining his life. And I'm like, no, that's I don't agree there. Like he wrote a good book, but he's not really right there. You can have a character whose life isn't ruined and that their story is about maturing, and their flaw is about they're kind of naive. that you don't need these character flaws which are ruining their lives. You just need character flaws to make them human. A lot of us don't have flaws that are ruining our lives, so why would these fictional characters? And the idea that you're right, that you have to write characters who have especially unique stories, is, you know, like this idea that we can't write about normal people. We have to write about people who have these big dramatic stories. Is I'm not entirely sold on. Yeah, so OJWH has it right there. As long as there's a change, it's a form of an arc, basically. But yeah, what you've got to show for a redemption arc is that their trifecta at the beginning, their views of the world, themselves, and the stakes, is causing harm to themselves or towards others, and quite immense harm, usually. And then by the end of it, they're no longer causing that harm. That's the redemption arc there. So that's why it really applies to Jamie's redemption arc. That's from Zalu 2. So that's Jamie's redemption arc. There's a reason I didn't talk about him. And the reason is that a lot of people say Jamie's redemption arc is ruined. It's not quite as simple as that in my mind. I see it as being a little bit more complex than that. In that Jamie going back to Cersei and Jamie saying that he loves her and not killing her, because that's what a lot of people thought. That's what a lot of people thought would happen. It's what I thought would happen. It's also what I think would be the most satisfying end to his story, that he turns on the thing which is basically his most deeply rooted demon. It's the hardest thing to him to overcome. That's a nice completion to his redemption arc. But he didn't. He didn't do that at all, and people saw that as entirely a character regression. I would say that the most defensive moment of his arc is not him going back to Cersei and not turning on Cersei. It's that when he faced Tyrion, he said, I never really cared about the peasants. When I actually saw that in the episode, I thought he was kind of kidding or joking for some reason, because it's just so clearly not true. Like, it's so clearly against everything we've seen of him in the past. But him going back to Cersei isn't against everything we've seen in the past. And the idea that... The idea is basically that him going back to Cersei doesn't actually invalidate all of the growth he's had as a character. Like, he's still a lot humbler. He still understands that you can solve problems with things other than violence. He's still... fought against the dead because that's what he saw as his duty. He still was with Brienne, you know. He made her a knight because he saw her valor and virtue, and he's clearly more caring and more virtuous than before. None of that is lost, really, in my mind. But toxic relationships are really hard to escape, and he's in a toxic relationship with Cersei. Obviously, this sort of toxicity feeds into one another in a way. And on the one hand, you can interpret him going back to Cersei as kind of a deeply resonant thematic message, which is kind of subversive in the sense that not everyone is going to be fully redeemed. Some people change and get better, but they can't always overcome these most deeply rooted issues of his character. And him going back to Cersei might be just that. You know, he changed to be better, but that didn't mean that he's going to be perfect, that he's going to complete that arc, because some people can't. There's a realism to that I can respect. I'm more offended by the idea that he didn't care about the poor people. I would have wanted to have seen more of that in the episode. Like, he rang the bells, or he got the bells to ring, I think. I can't quite remember. But it would have been, in my mind, a more satisfying end for him to kill Cersei, to do that when he realizes. But just because I would have felt that's more satisfying doesn't mean that how they did it in the series is wholly bad. So yeah, I would have had him not say, I never really cared about the poor people, because that was just weird. That's just clearly not true at all. But him going back to Cersei isn't inherently bad by itself. That's how there's an internal logic to it. That kind of works. And also, the fact that Cersei, the bells actually ring anyway. The bells actually ring, indicating surrender. In that episode, earlier in like season 2, I think Tyrion said, "I've never known bells to mean surrender," or whatever it was. The fact that the bells rung meant that he wasn't put in the situation where he had to decide the people or Cersei, which was a clear, I think, choice on their part, you know. Because otherwise he would have had to have chosen, do I kill Cersei or do I protect the people and make sure the bells ring? And they never put him in that position that he felt he was in when he killed the Mad King. So yeah, those are kind of my broad thoughts on Jaime's redemption arc. It's that the detail that he didn't care about people is just didn't work at all. But the detail that he went back to Cersei works within the show, broadly speaking, even if I don't think it's the most satisfying way to end his character's story. Because there is kind of a gritty realism to the sense that that there are limits to redemption, there are limits to things we can overcome. And I can respect that, and that it doesn't invalidate the other character growth he has had. As long as they don't regress that for some reason. Like, he called himself, "I'm a hateful man." He's not a hateful man. Although I thought he actually said that initially so that Brienne didn't follow him. So, yes. There we go. That's basically my thoughts. Whew. Man, I just can't get over how pretty this is. It's so nice. I've got a mirror now. I can, like, do my hair. I can do ASMR. No, I'm sorry. I will not put you through that. So, let's have a look through the chat, see if we've got any questions. What are your thoughts on having an open-ended redemption arc? One, it would be more vague as to the character arc's ending as to whether their actions truly redeem them. That's fine. There's nothing wrong there. You can have a lot of ambiguity. Like, I reckon Snape's one is kind of like that. Like, do his actions really redeem him? He was still a dick. He still abused children, you know. Even when he supposedly turned to the good side, and he never stopped doing that. Is that really a redemption? No. In answer to your question, I prefer the How to Train Your Dragon movies. I didn't actually really kind of get into How to Train Your Dragon until I was a bit older. So, yeah. So I'm just trying to find a question. Have you ever watched My Hero Academia? No, I have not watched My Hero Academia. Dislike for ASMR. Come on. I actually like ASMR, but let's not get into that. So you asked there, what kind of schooling do you have? Well, I went to high school. And then I went to university and I got 2 degrees. I have a law degree and I have an arts degree. One of which was a major in English and a major in politics. But the politics was mostly philosophy. So take from that what you will. Hence why I discuss political philosophy in my videos sometimes. Because I actually know a little bit about that and I find it intensely interesting. Do you have any advice on writing character regression? I am actually going to do a video on corruption arcs. I'm planning that to do then sometime in the future. What do you think of the Vegeta? I assume you mean Dragon Ball Z's Vegeta? Vegeta? Okay, so little secret about me, which I spilled on Twitter the other day. I don't like Dragon Ball Z, like, at all. I really didn't enjoy it as a kid, and I never have, and I don't want to watch it, because I strongly dislike almost every part of the show. So, yeah, and there are lots of reasons for that, but the basic reason is that I find it is insanely, like, not complex. It's just, oh, they're getting more powerful, and I remember thinking as a kid, where do they get their power from? Why are they getting more powerful? This doesn't make any sense. Goku is an uninteresting character. They're all uninteresting characters. And the world doesn't look interesting. And it's just repetitive. And every single episode is just recap and build up for the next episode. And its animation's ugly. I don't like any of it. But that's just my opinion. Oh, that's an interesting question. One that I'm sure lots of people will be interested in my answer to. What's your take on the rise of the popularity of nihilism? I think that most people don't understand nihilism. That's what I think. And I think it's popular because it's edgy. And I don't think that the people who are edgy using it understand what it means. And haven't read any Nietzsche. I don't think they've read any of that sort of stuff. So, yeah, that's what I would probably say without getting too much into the philosophy of it. I'm surprised a lot of people actually agreed with me on the Dragon Ball Z thing. I thought, like, most of my audience, because I got a lot of questions about redemption arcs being like, what about Vegeta? And I think that's partially because OSP did a video on reformed villains, and she focused a lot on Vegeta. Red did. Which is fine, you know, but it's just kind of a show that that I never got into, never could, and don't want to, basically. You completely agree, I'm positive and happy person due to nihilism. Yeah, exactly. It's actually a relatively positive philosophy. And yes, we agree on Dragon Ball. It's boring and awful. Thank you. Yes, it's like all actors who think they're using method acting because it's cool and they don't actually know what method acting is. Yes, my acting days are far behind me, but yeah, you know, I still get those sort of criticisms. Yeah, not on me. I don't get them. I understand them. What do you think of the Dragon Prince? I like the Dragon Prince. I think it's got a hell of a lot of potential. I think as its funding increases, it's going to get a lot better. I really like... I really like its characters. I like its world. I find it's got a unique feel, but very familiar feel. Which... I kind of like. I like that the magic sort of feels familiar, but there's a lot to do with it. Especially they built on it quite a bit in Season 2, which is quite cool. Would Han Solo be considered a redemption arc? Yes, he would be considered a redemption arc. Sort of. Like, it's implied that he has done quite bad stuff he's been involved in gangs and so on. I mean, it's a pretty soft redemption arc, I gotta be honest. Although he did initially turn away from the rebellion, if I remember rightly, and he's redeemed from that. It's a pretty soft redemption arc. I wouldn't use it as a big example. So yeah, that's Astral Vagabond. Strictly speaking, it's a pretty definitionally neutral. Yes, definitionally, it's a pretty neutral philosophy. I'll take you up on that. What I mean is that it's meant to have positive effects for people who take up on it. It's not meant to be a negative outlook on the world. That's what I mean. It's meant to help people have a positive outlook, in the sense. What do you think of One Piece? I don't know. One Piece. I know it's an anime. It doesn't look very interesting to me. I probably won't go into it. I'm currently watching Attack on Titan. Really enjoying that, even though, goodness, its storytelling is next to horrendous. Like, I love the world and the characters and the look and the themes, but it's has this tendency to, every single time something happens, a character has to recount it out loud to the other characters in the plainest language possible to make sure that the audience understand it. So, you're saying to me, although hang on, I just want to clarify this. I don't watch the American dub. I watch the English sub. Just before anyone hates on me, I do like the Japanese version more. Am I allowed to feel superior because of that? I think so. I think it gives me anime points or something. But its dialogue is not that great. Yeah. So, is it easier, in your opinion, to word build polytheistic or monotheistic religions? I think they're probably just as hard as one another. Like, I don't think, like, it's because of how much religion affects everything else. You've got to think about politics. You've got to think about society. You've got to think about values and how they affect society. Okay, so some people do actually agree with. Some people actually do agree with my criticism of Attack on Titan. Yeah, the scripting's not fantastic. Like, the concepts behind it are really interesting, and I pretty much watch it for that. But I kind of have to roll my eyes every single time we get a backstory episode when a character is asked, like, a simple question. I have actually read, it's not called The Expanse. I think the series actually might be called The Expanse, but the first book is called... The Expanse is the name of the Netflix series. But I've read Leviathan Wakes. It was really fantastic. I really liked that. Here's another good question. Has there ever been a fictional character that inspires you? Like Aang? I don't know. Like, a fictional character that inspires me, like, makes me want to do more, do better. Probably the closest would be Aang. I don't know. It's hard to say. There's been a lot of characters which have, like, influenced the way I work and think and write. But you know, characters like Spyro when I was a kid. Obviously, like Spyro, I got this new Spyro model, which I'll show you. Look at him. He's crazy. He's got crazy eyes. He's gonna kill you all. He's a pretty cool little model. I haven't got any Spyro models, and I don't have like the big, huge $150 amazing one. As much as I would like it. Maybe I should have it on my desk. What's your favorite anime story? Easily Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. That's definitely the case. Because that was one of the tightest stories I've ever seen. Like, it just worked seamlessly with everything in the rest of the story. Which Spyro game is your favourite? Spyro Year of the Dragon. I have all of the games, or all of the games that matter. That is the ones on PS2. And if you play Skylanders, please just don't. I like, in the old Spyro, I like A Year of the Dragon. In the new Spyro, I like The Eternal Night. And I also like A Hero's Tale. Those would probably be the three that I like the most. So one of them is the original Insomniac. One of them was Activision. Actually, I think the other ones, I think the Legion of Spyro is Activision. I think. Then Hero's Tale was also really tight. Hero's Tale was great. Just had a really nice, fun world. Yeah. So, that's what I'd say about that. I have not seen Hunter x Hunter. Apparently it's good. Apparently it also has the best hard magic system in the world, because I made that video and you would not believe how many comments I got asking why I never mentioned Hunter x Hunter. And like 99% of the time, if I don't mention a thing in a video, it's because I've never heard of it or never watched it. Because I hadn't heard of it. Oh my gosh. So, yeah. How can you like FMAB but dislike Attack on Titan? I mean, I gotta be honest, I don't quite remember that much about Fullmetal Alchemist in terms of like the nitty gritty, how it scripted everything. I probably remember the broad strokes of the story the most. And so it might be just as bad in terms of recapping. I don't feel that it was at all. But I mean, it could be as bad. I might have forgotten certain things. But I remember I have like more of a visceral reaction to the writing in Attack on Titan than I ever did to Fullmetal Alchemist, which worked, which really worked in my mind. What are your thoughts on Brandon Sanderson? Fantastic world builder. Books are really easy to read. Not particularly complex. Like, you know, you'd be reading, you could be reading those books as a 10, 11, 12-year-old. But hi. Scissors? You need the scissors? Wait. I actually did read Aaron Hunter's Warrior books. I've read 2 of the seasons. I've read 2 of the series. I have all of the books in the second series in paperback form. I read the other ones getting them out of the library when I was like 11. So that was pretty cool. I pretty much kind of stopped reading once I got to the Power of 3 stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, that just didn't interest me that much. How do you feel about Netflix wanting to remake Avatar: The Last Airbender live action? Uncertain. I don't really want to say too much. Yes, that was Laura. Yeah, she just needed the scissors. I have feelings about it. Sort of hard to articulate. Like, I'm excited just because it's Avatar stuff and it's the same stuff. I would enjoy seeing another Avatar movie, like live action one. Just being live action doesn't mean it's going to be bad. I love the animation, and you lose that with it. And that's obviously a loss, but you gain a lot more as well. There is potential but I'm probably edging closer towards this doesn't really feel necessary. This is probably going to be gratuitous, and I have a feeling it's not going to be fantastic. Just because these sort of things have a bad history, and adapting anime or cartoons to live action, they go notoriously wrong. So, yeah. And even if Mike and Brian are on board with the series, they're also not. They don't have Aaron Haas. They don't have Elizabeth Haas. They don't have Gary. What's his name? Or Ethan Spaulding, who did a lot of the kind of the conceptual stuff. So, yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah. How would they develop or add on to it and still make the live action justice? Well, number one, there are a couple of things that could. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you for the $2. There are a couple of things that they could build on. Number one, I reckon they could actually make the bending cooler. So the bending that we see in Legend of Korra is closer to what the creators originally visualized. Perhaps more of the martial arts stuff that we see in the original series. But they could build on that, which would be interesting to see. And number two, it'd be interesting to see the world building parts, I think, built up, made real. That would be quite cool. I could definitely see that being quite cool. In terms of scripting, development, characters, I don't know if they're going to be able to do much more. I saw a question from Sophie. Hang on. Just got lost in there. Who is your favourite Avatar character and why? I like Katara. She's my favourite of the main cast. And that's because I feel she is probably one of the most real characters. Like, they're all really real. But she has a depth and complexity that resonated with me a lot. She is she's the center of my favorite episode, the Southern Raiders, and she grows so much as a character. They all grow so much as characters. I mean, I love them all, but Katara just takes the pie because she's a waterbender, and I love waterbending in terms of its animation, in terms of the ideas behind it. And I think she has one of the coolest and darkest arcs of the series. Also, like, Aang isn't a particularly... Like, he's relatable, but he's less relatable than the other characters, because Aang is a pacifist. Children aren't pacifists. Aang is a vegetarian nomad. Children aren't vegetarian nomads. You know. So, there's a lot more to her in that sort of relatable sense. So I guess she resonated with me as a guy. And also, when I first saw the series... No. When I first saw the series, I was way younger. No, never mind. Yeah, what are we going? Here we go. Would the Netflix series expand beyond book 3? I mean, they could. It'd be interesting to see them go into the comics. I would like to see The Promise done. The Promise is my favorite of the comics. I wasn't a huge fan of The Search, which is where they found Zuko's mum. I feel like there were a couple of choices there that weren't the best. Yeah, so the second half of season 3 seems a little rushed. I mean, they could expand it. It'd be nice to see if they did expand it. If they did expand it, then Zutara would become a possibility, because I think the only thing standing in the way of Zutara, narratively speaking, is probably time. in terms of how they developed it. And don't take that as me being a Zutara shipper. Don't take it that way, because it's not 100%. Not 100% what I think. I have a weird opinion on Zutara. But I'm also not really a Katang shipper. I'm not really a shipper, to put that out there. I have like one ship, which is from The Office, that I care about, and that's it. What are my thoughts on Legend of Korra? I like Legend of Korra. It has flaws, obviously, particularly in Season 2. And my summary would be, Season 1 is pretty damn good, with the exception of the focus on the love triangle. That was really holding it back. Season 2 would be was good for the first half and very weak for the second half. Season 3 is amazing. It's up there with Avatar for me. And Season 4, fantastic first half, very flawed like later half. That's kind of what my summary would be. Yeah. You like the Aang and Toph ship? Is that a ship? Do people have that as a ship? I didn't even know that. Well, I mean, I knew like everyone ships everyone. That's just the nature of the internet. But, yeah, so. What's your favorite excerpt music piece from Avatar? Well, it'd be Peace, which is why I kind of sometimes use it. But I don't. I like all of the music, pretty much. Jeremy Zuckerman did an amazing job. I kind of want to set up an interview with him just to talk about it, just because I feel like there'd be so much that we could talk about with that. But haven't quite got there yet. Yeah. So you said you don't like Aang's ending in Avatar. I can understand that. I know the criticisms of it. I'm doing a video on the basic premise is this is what I think they were intending to go for, that would have made it more satisfying, but people didn't really understand it. And it's not a fault of the people who didn't understand it. It's a fault of the writers who didn't communicate it that well. That's sort of the interview that I'm going to be going with. Sorry, that's sort of the angle that I'll be going with. It's breaking down what the Lion Turtle said, what it meant, what the whole ending of the series was meant to mean, and why it sort of felt a bit hollow. At least that's what you could draw out from it. It's essentially articulating what I think they were intending. Do you like the Agni Kai or Aang versus Ozai? Oh, Agni Kai, so much more emotionally resonant. There's no real tension, personally, between Ozai and Aang, because they had never met, ever. There's so much, like, the show spends way more time building up Azula as an antagonist than Ozai. In terms of time and emotional dimension in the story. So obviously we're going to be a lot more invested in the Azula Zuko fight. Am I planning on doing more How to Train Your Dragon videos? Potentially. I've got another one or two in my head that might happen at some point. I am refining kind of what I'm doing with what my channel. Refining my content on my channel. I've got a whole bunch of videos planned. I've got one on this ending for Avatar. I've got another Tolkien video, not quite sure what's going to be on. I want to do one on post-colonialism and Avatar and the comics. I want to do one on the Fire Nation world building. study in world building, kind of like I did on the Earth Kingdom. I want to do another world building video. I want to do a writing video on corruption arcs. I want to do a Lord of the Rings video where you watch the Battle of Pelennor Fields or the Battle of Helm's Deep. That would be a lot of fun. Anyways, I'm thinking that is about good for the stream. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you for all the super chats, those who did. I might do another live stream. By the way, come subscribe to me over on Twitter. Come follow me on Instagram. Go get my book if you haven't yet. And also follow me on Twitch. I will hopefully Twitch more in the future. I think there are all links down in the description. If I haven't, have I added my Twitch link yet? Oh, I have not added my Twitch link. That's my fault. Hang on. I know what I'll do. So here we go. Have that. And can I don't know if I'm gonna be able to actually add you to my Twitch thing quickly. That's fine. How do I even get my channel? There we go. My Twitch stream. Okay, there we go. Alright, so thank you very much, guys. And stay nerdy. And I will see you in the future.